Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental. I'm the Dental Road Warrior, returning for episode 38 in the series. So today I want to talk about where you're getting your advice from. And where you're getting your coaching and insights from. It's one of these things that drives me crazy as a dental coach and consultant. I've been doing this for 22 years now this year. I've been coaching people for 30 years in business and in dental overall, but 22, but in business for 30. And I've seen it all and done a lot of it in my time. But you know what? I don't claim to be an expert or try to be an expert in areas that I'm not. And unfortunately, sometimes I find my clients, before they meet me, of course, have been the victim of bad advice, because there's a lot of advice flying around. Now we have the internet as one area where we can get bad advice, because you don't know what the heck to believe and follow out there. And so who do you speak to? Sometimes we have these reps that come into our office, and look, I'm not saying that your reps don't have some good insights from here, to some good tidbits or pearls of wisdom from time to time, because they're in other offices and things like that. But that's great. But the application of this advice is how it all is it going to work? Because again, having to know your office inside and out and your personnel and the day-to-day, they're in and out of there. They know you a little bit, but they are not experts. They're there to sell you a product. They're there to sell you equipment, whatever they're selling. All right, that's where their specialty is. I don't go into an office and pretend that I know and push products. I'm not on the take with different companies and say, hey, buy this, get this, whatever. So again, if I recommend an intraoral camera to a practice, I don't say you should buy this intraoral camera from this particular company. Again, this is not my expertise. This is not what I'm there to do. I know one thing, and what I know was the business and people part of dentistry. That's what good dental coaches and dental consultants do. They stick to that, and they focus on that. And believe me, I've figured it out at this stage of my life that if I'm not expert on something, or I'm not the best at it, I will farm it out, or I'll go refer it out to someone who is an expert on certain things. And for example, I'm not going to start giving people legal advice if they're asking me legal questions. Do I know a lot about legal from working with dentists? Sure, as it pertains to them. But at the end of the day, they need to speak to an expert in the field, which would be an attorney. Do I know some things about accounting? Yeah, I know some things about that as well too. But you know what? You need to speak to an accountant. I'm not a CPA. All right, so we will go out and get you in touch with people and that's what good consultants and coaches should do, is that they admit when they don't know everything, and that's the key. That's the goal of being a good consultant and coach. It's not about having all the answers all the time. Sometimes the answer is like, I don't know, or the answer, I have to go find that out for you, or this is the best person to go speak to. And again, some of the worst people you can speak to sometimes are your colleagues, right? And this is a big one. Because, a lot of times dentists like to commiserate with each other and speak to their colleagues about, hey, what's going on in your office? What's going on in your life? What have you been doing to solve this particular issue in your practice, or particular problem? What do you think I should do with my practice? And getting practice management advice from your colleagues is sometimes one of the worst mistakes you can make, because I can tell you right now, I'm going to go over the top 5 bad pieces of advice that I hear all the time that your colleagues give you when you confront them and say, hey, look, this is what's going on in my practice. I'm having problems. It's not where I want it to be. It's going down. I'm struggling. What do you suggest? And I've heard all manner of different things. And these are not these five pearls of wisdom, so to speak, that you get from your colleagues. They are not the best things you can possibly do. These are not the roads you want to go down. But yet I hear this bad advice all the time. And so number one, bad piece of advice number one. All right, pump more money into marketing. The universal solution to everything in people's minds is, look, you know what? The way you solve your practice problems is to pump more money into your marketing budget. Now, look, is marketing important? Sure it is. All right, getting more new patients is always important. But is the way to do it just, take thousands and thousands of dollars and throw it into random different things and see what happens? No, it's not. And there's a lot of bad marketing advice out there. Believe me, I've been in marketing for new patients my whole life. Started in the alternative medicine field 30 years ago. All right, so I know what works and what doesn't work, especially in this particular market. But every market is different that's out there. But again, you have to know. You can spend a lot of bad money on marketing. And again, marketing companies know this. You get bombarded in the mail every day by brochures and things in the mail from companies, or online touting, unlimited new patients up the wazoo or whatever, and those aren't the bad. What is it? A lot of it's gimmicks. All right? This stuff doesn't work. You have to really understand marketing and get good marketing advice and look strategically, decide on what your marketing plan is going to be, from getting guidance from your coaches to let you know this is what's going to work best in your particular practice, in this particular town, this particular demographic. There's a lot of variables here, all right? So, pumping tons of money into marketing doesn't solve everything. And just because you pour more new patients, let's say the marketing does work and the phone starts ringing, we get more new patients into the practice. This is not going to solve everything. If you have an inefficient system internally, they come in one door and go out the other. So we're wasting all this money on marketing and we have no patient retention. Or we're not getting the best quality patients to come into our practice and to show up there. So it's a waste of time. So again, pumping thousands of dollars into marketing doesn't solve all your internal issues in your practice at all. Basically, internal marketing is the first way to go, and that can cost you virtually nothing to do effectively properly. So that's not the be-all, end-all, not necessarily the best way to go. Hiring and firing people, number 2. Well, if you have problems in your practice, the problem is you either have to hire more people, because we need to get other people in there, additional people, because we think the solution is to bring in more people, or getting rid of the bad people. Right? Just fire people and get the bad ones out and bring the new ones in. Look, sometimes people have to go. I get that. But if you're gonna try to solve all your problems in practice by hiring and firing people and having this revolving door policy, right? It's not great for the practice. All right. So look, and this whole idea of bad people. Usually, I've said this before. It's not the people. You may have bad policies, bad systems, bad, not great at being a good motivator and team leader in the practice. There's a lot of factors, and you're not necessarily how to hire the right kind of people in the first place. There's a lot of factors that go into putting together a team. Okay, so it's not just about hiring and firing people to solve all your woes. Right? Especially, this is not an area that doctors are expert in the first place. They're not great at attracting the right kind of people. Like I always get, how do we find these? Where do you find them? And to get them into our practice. And then when we get them there, what do we do with them? There's no training system for these people. They don't get integrated into the practice culture properly. A lot of pitfalls to hiring and firing people. This doesn't solve everything just by bringing in various people. It's a very delicate balance in there. And you know what it's like if you bring the wrong person into your practice, what it can do. So yes, hiring and firing, is it a necessary part of practice? Sure it is, but it's not the be-all, end-all to solve, again, your practice woes, to make things better with the practice. Insurance plans, that's another big one. Get on every insurance plan. Now it's a way of the times. You gotta get up on these plans and get on more plans so you get more people in the door. Again, bad mistake. Right? I mean, just getting on plans, lots of us have done that. We've gone over to the dark side and we can't come back, once we've done this. How much money are we giving away doing this? Does it bring in more people into practice? Potentially, sure it can. Again, quality of patients, how much are we giving away? How much are we sacrificing every year by seeing all these patients? All right, if they do come in. And then if they're of any kind of quality. So selling out to insurance companies and is a losing proposition. I've talked about the evils of insurance before. The system is rigged against you, and you're not going to win this game in insurance if you're not good at it and you don't learn how to do it in the first place. So I wouldn't recommend, if you haven't already gone down that road and your practice isn't loaded with tons of plans, you don't participate in tons of plans. Definitely never get anybody convince you to do Medicaid or these union plans or these other bad plans. There's a few exceptions here and there, but in general, insurance, going down that road of insurance to solve all your practice woes, and again ends up being a losing proposition. And again, if you are in the insurance game, you got to play it better. But just using that as a solution, I have yet to see it be, this was the greatest thing that saved my practice. Good thing I got on more insurance plans. What a great idea. What a great deal. No. Again, not a good idea. Okay. Oh, one of my other favorite ones. You have one struggling practice that's not generating what it's supposed to do. Here's a solution: go out and buy another practice. Have a second location. So I could have one practice making $500,000 a year. Now, if I buy another practice, I have $1 million practice. No, now you have two separate headaches to deal with. You have to take care of the foundational practice first. If that's not even stable, now you're going to open another practice. You're going to be at double your overhead, staff in two places, your attention's in two places. Right? How can you be effective doing that? All right. So there are times to buy additional practice. Maybe you buy a patient list or another practice and integrate it with your own strategically. Again, but this is a strategic decision. You're not going to just solve all your problems by buying and opening this other location. I don't know what this intention is this day and age. Maybe it's ego. I don't know what it is to expand out and have multiple locations all over the place. All right, and if you have a franchise you want to put together, sure, that's what you want to do. You want to start franchising yourself for some reason, but ultimately it starts with having a turnkey model in the first place. You have to have that down before you get into other locations, and usually it's a bad thing to start branching out into other locations and putting out that kind of money and increasing your overhead and splitting your attention in different locations when the core location is not stable in the first place. Okay, so not the best way to solve your initial practice woes. And then another big favorite one lately has become the DSO sellout. Oh, well, DSOs are the wave of the future. This is where we're going. I'm struggling, so you know what? I got to sell out. And it's really a shame to me that in this day and age that doctors feel that there's no way out. There's nothing they can do anymore, that they have to sell out their life's work for pennies on the dollar, to sell out to these DSOs. But look, maybe some of you are in that situation, is desperation. Maybe the best thing to do would be to get some coaching and some help before it gets to that point. It's amazing how little a lot of practices are going for these days from what they used to go for 20 years ago, because a lot of people are struggling. They want to get out of it. So they think that, do what I'm doing. I'm bailing. You should bail as well too. Not the best advice. And these are the top 5 things I hear from time and time again. What's better advice? Okay, listen to an expert. Get expert advice and guidance from someone that knows what the hell they're doing and what they're talking about, who does this day and night, round the clock, who understands and have a more positive viewpoint on this whole thing, not this negative thing that, the doom and gloom of how it is. Don't sell out. Don't accept and compromise mediocrity in your practice. You can do better than there's lots of possibilities here when you bring the right people into your life to give you guidance to help get you there. Right, and make that decision. Make an informed decision about the future of your business and the future of your practice. Okay, that's all I'm gonna on this. Sorry, my little rant today, but it's big. It makes a huge difference. When you do make decisions like this, but don't make decisions in business emotionally. Okay, or because you think everybody's doing that. You don't want to be like everybody else and do whatever. Just because everybody else is struggling, having a hard time, doesn't mean you have to be. Right? All of my clients at one time or another came to me because they were struggling, and now they're in a whole different world, in a whole different place. All right? Because they listened to the right person and got the right advice from experts. That's what you need to be doing right now. If you're sitting out there making decisions about what am I going to do next with my practice? How am I going to take it to the next level? How am I going to improve things here? How am I going to solve these problems I got going on here? This is the best way of going at it in terms of improving things, again, taking to the next level, making more revenue, having a better life in practice. Okay, all right, so again, that was episode 38 in the books now, and I hope you're enjoying these. And again, as always, if you love them, you're enjoying them, please feel free to share them. It makes a big difference when you do. And I'll be back soon with the next episode.